Guys, Ken here from the Retro Toys Escapades channel Malaysia. Spin Master stunned the fan community this week with a shock reveal of their highly secretive Superman the Movie 1978 Retro Edition figures. They already have figures based on this year's new James Gunn Superman movie coming out, but it turns out that they've been planning this very special tribute series to the Christopher Reeve Superman movies that we grew up with from our childhood. Now, Spin Master is primarily known for their DC Universe toys that are mainly aimed at a very young audience, but they have also shown us what they can do with motion picture themed movie lines that are specially geared towards adult collectors, such as with their Batman Returns figure and also with their recent Batman Forever 30th anniversary line. They first teased their Superman movie retro figures on the Batman Forever card backs, and now we finally have the full reveals coming out. Sadly, Spin Master will be losing the DC license in 2026 after 6 years of nearly non-stop output, but it looks like they plan to go out with a bang. A bang as huge as when the planet Krypton itself blew up. Now, these figures are packed on cards with a classic design that homaged the old canon Star Wars figures of the 70s. You know it the minute you see it. The action figure is sealed on one lower corner of the package, while the rest of the card is filled with beautiful graphics showcasing the brand. This style has also been emulated to an extreme degree over the last decade by companies such as Super 7 and their Reaction line, but Super 7 doesn't have the DC Universe license. Now, these take you straight back to the 70s and give you figures that never came with the original 1978 Superman movie. The card design uses the vintage poster artwork, and the presentation looks absolutely fantastic. Except that they didn't need to use the same backdrop design on every single figure, I think. They could have used a character-specific photo or a character piece of artwork for each separate figure, but sadly they did not, and I feel that that affects the collectability of these toys a bit. I definitely do not think that these figures have a chance for breakout success with commercial audiences. These will appeal to serious collectors in their 40s and 50s who watched the original movies as kids and have an attachment to them that's strong enough that they'll want action figures from the movie even if they look caricaturish and deformed. The one figure here that has the biggest chance of a breakout success is of course the Superman figure. This one is really bright and dynamic looking. The detailing is pretty good too, especially when you look at things like the S symbol that's on the back of his cape. Now, all of these figures are of course severely limited in articulation. Definitely you'll know it the minute you see those squarish, blockish looking hip joints that they come with. Now, these are very reminiscent of the Star Wars figures from back in the 70s. These figures are going for the same look and design. But yes, okay, they only have something like about 5 points of articulation, so you can't really move them around that much. And he does come with one accessory, which is the Kryptonian necklace that Lex Luthor surprised him with in the movie. Now, this thing does fit over his neck for an alternate look to the figure. And you know what? This thing is something more of a torture device, I think, right? Or maybe more like an instrument of control, but you do get a nice option to have this thing on him as well. The one thing about this figure that I think severely, right, holds it back is the lack of its actor likeness. Okay, I would prefer if this thing looked maybe 78% more like Christopher Reeve. All right, I get it that they're going for something of a stylized approach with these figures. These are not meant to be premium level sculpts with full-on accuracy to the actor likeness. These are meant to be the kind of figures that you'd walk to a store back in the day in the 70s, and it was supposed to match the sculpting level of toys of that day. So, you know, if it was a movie-based action figure, there's just no chance that it would look anything like the actor, I think. Even if it was officially licensed with approvals and stuff like that, the sculpting standards were just not up to that level. But still, not every aspect of the figure needs to be a homage, right? You could still give us something that's just a little bit more accurate to the actor. Okay, and then we've got Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane, who's played by actress Margot Kidder in the movie. And you guys have got to let me know in the comment section because I do believe that this is the very first Margot Kidder action figure that's ever been made. And she comes with a notepad accessory. If you look closely, I think it says there, "I spent the night with Superman." Definitely something that every action figure collector wants in their collection. Right? A figure of Lois Lane holding up a notepad that says that she spent the night with Superman. I feel that, honestly, this figure works great in a diorama setting or for a scene-specific action figure project that you have in mind. Other than that, it's just going to warm those pegs at the store. it's going to warm those pecs harder than those Marion Ravenwood figures from the Indy Jones line a couple of years ago. Okay, remember those? Now, next up, we've got Lex Luthor, the first of the villains in this series. And the Lex figure here is actually pretty interesting. He gets a newspaper clipping that has the official Daily Planet branding on it. Now, this is great. You can use this thing for a lot of scenarios, but also he gets an interchangeable hair wig or toupee, so you can actually have two different looks for him. You could have him with the hairpiece on or without. Now, I actually had to research this because there was an official Gene Hackman Superman the movie figure released by Mattel all the way back in 2011. This was actually a pretty great release. It came with a lot of stuff in it. But other than that, I would say that there really hasn't been that many Gene Hackman action figures out there in the market. So this one is a bit of a nice surprise. Now, then we have Superman's father, Jor-El, and he actually comes with two different looks in this first series. First of all, he's in his black gown as seen at the start of the movie, and he's holding something that looks like a stick or baton or something like that. But it's actually this wand, I believe, that he was using in the movie during the scene where he was sentencing the Phantom Zone criminals. All right, so this thing actually lights up in the movie or something like that. But either way, it's a pretty cheap looking accessory, but it is something that was accurate from the movie, so I guess that makes it legitimate. Now, what surprises me is that they actually have another Jor-El figure in this first assortment. All right, this time he's in the white robes from the Fortress of Solitude scene, and he also comes with a green crystal accessory. Now, this crystal accessory is cool because you could use it in a variety of ways with different action figures from the series. However, I am surprised, okay, that they did go with two Jor-El figures in this first wave alone. It's like they had to reuse that mold ASAP, okay, to cover back the cost of it or something like that. But instead of two Jor-El variants, why couldn't they just give us a Clark Kent figure instead? Or maybe they're saving that for wave 2, I don't know. Okay, lastly, we've got General Zod, who is not only one of the greatest superhero screen villains ever, but also just generally one of the greatest screen villains of all time in the history of movies. General Zod is the one figure in this assortment that I believe most collectors will pick up immediately alongside with Superman. He's just probably like the most visually exciting character as well. Definitely a screen villain that does not get enough representation in action figures, I think, up to this point. The sculpt work on this figure is pretty effective as well. I think a little bit better than some of the others in this assortment. And as an accessory piece, he gets a portion of the Phantom Zone, a representation of the prison as we saw it floating through space in the movie. Guys, I want to hear your thoughts on this Superman the movie retro series assortment from Spin Master. Drop your comments below, and I'll talk to you guys again real soon. Thank you for watching, and take care out there.